Take a look around you right now. In the chair you're sitting on, the desk holding your screen, the walls of the room you're in, and even the floor beneath your feet. Chances are, you'll find them. They are the unsung, often invisible, heroes of our built world: nails and screws. These tiny pieces of metal are the bedrock of construction, manufacturing, and countless everyday objects. Their story is a fascinating journey through thousands of years of human ingenuity, a tale of metallurgy, mechanics, and mass production that has quite literally held our civilization together. Our story begins with the nail, a simple but revolutionary invention. What is a nail? At its most basic, it's a pin-shaped fastener, typically made of metal, with a pointed tip on one end and a flattened head on the other. It's driven into materials, usually wood, by a hammer, and it holds things together through friction and sheer strength. The earliest evidence of metal nails dates back over 5,000 years to ancient Mesopotamia, where bronze nails were used in construction. The Romans, masters of engineering, were prolific nail users. Archaeologists have unearthed caches of Roman nails, some remarkably well preserved, from military forts and settlements. At the Roman fortress of Inchtoothill in Scotland, a hoard of nearly 1 million unused iron nails was discovered, buried by the legionaries to prevent them from falling into enemy hands. This massive quantity tells us just how vital nails were to the Roman war machine and their ambitious building projects. For most of history, making a nail was a laborious, skilled task. A blacksmith, known as a nailer or nailer, would start with a square iron rod. They would heat the rod in a forge until it glowed bright orange, then hammer it on an anvil, painstakingly tapering it to a point on all 4 sides. Once the point was formed, the smith would cut the nail to the desired length. The next step was to create the head. The nailer would drop the hot, pointed blank into a hole in a tool called a nail header or bolster plate, leaving a small portion of the shank protruding. With a few skilled strikes of the hammer, they would flatten this protruding end, forming the head. A talented nailer could produce a few hundred nails in a day, but it was slow, intensive work. Each nail was a unique, hand-wrought object, often more valuable than the wood it was holding together. This made construction expensive and time-consuming. Imagine building an entire house when every single fastener had to be individually forged by hand. This all began to change in the late 18th century with the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. The demand for nails was exploding, especially in rapidly growing nations like America, which needed vast quantities for housing, shipbuilding, and westward expansion. The old hand-wrought method simply couldn't keep up. The first major innovation was the cut nail. Around the 1790s, machines were invented that could shear or cut nail blanks from a flat sheet of iron, much like a cookie cutter slicing through dough. These early machines, pioneered by inventors like Jacob Perkins in America, automated the creation of the nails, shank, and point. The nail blanks would tumble out of the machine, all uniform in shape. Initially, the head still had to be added by hand, but it wasn't long before machines were developed to do that too. These new cut nails were rectangular in cross-section and tapered on 2 sides, giving them incredible holding power in wood. They are often called square nails, and if you ever see one in an old piece of furniture or a historic building, you're looking at a piece of industrial history. The cut nail machine revolutionized construction, making nails cheaper and more plentiful than ever before. But the evolution didn't stop there. By the mid-19th century, another innovation was taking hold: the wire nail. Instead of being cut from a sheet, these nails were made from spools of metal wire. A machine would pull the wire, cut it to length, form a point on one end, and simultaneously use a powerful stamping mechanism to form a head on the other. This process was even faster and more efficient than making cut nails. It was a continuous, automated flow that could churn out thousands of nails per minute. Wire nails, which are round and have a distinct waffle pattern on the head from the stamping tool, quickly became the dominant type of fastener. Their production cost was incredibly low, and they were easy to manufacture in a huge variety of sizes and styles. Today, when you buy a box of nails from a hardware store, you are almost certainly buying wire nails, the direct descendants of this 19th century invention. Now, let's turn our attention to the nail's more complex cousin, the screw. A screw is a fastener with a helical ridge or thread wrapped around a central cylinder. Unlike a nail, which relies on friction, a screw converts rotational motion into linear motion. As you turn it, the threads cut into the material, pulling the screw inward and creating a much stronger, more secure joint that can also be easily disassembled. The fundamental principle behind the screw, the helix, was described by the Greek mathematician Archimedes in the 3rd century BC. The Archimedes screw was a large device used for raising water, not for fastening things. However, the mechanical principle was established. For centuries, screws remained a niche, high-tech item. Making a screw was incredibly difficult. A craftsman would have to forge a metal blank, similar to a nail, and then painstakingly file the threads by hand using a series of triangular files. This required immense skill and patience. A matching threaded hole, or nut, was often made at the same time, with the pair being kept together as a unique set. Because they were so expensive and time-consuming to produce, early screws were reserved for specialized applications where immense strength or precision was needed, such as in armor, firearms, scientific instruments, and high-end clockmaking. Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks contain numerous sketches of machines for cutting threads, showing that the greatest minds were captivated by the challenge. The breakthrough for the screw, much like the nail, came with the Industrial Revolution. In the mid-18th century, English instrument makers Jesse Ramsden and later Henry Maudslay developed the screw-cutting lathe. This was a game-changer. The lathe allowed for the precise, repeatable cutting of screw threads. It connected the rotation of the workpiece to the linear movement of a cutting tool, enabling the creation of uniform threads. For the first time, it was possible to mass-produce screws with standardized thread pitches. This meant that any screw of a certain size could fit into any nut of the same size, a concept we take for granted today but was revolutionary at the time. This standardization was crucial for the development of interchangeable parts, which in turn fueled the explosion of modern manufacturing. Suddenly, machines could be assembled, repaired, and modified with ease. The manufacturing process for a modern screw is a marvel of high-speed engineering. It typically starts with a thick coil of steel wire. The wire is fed into a machine called a cold header. This machine doesn't heat the metal. Instead, it uses immense pressure to reshape it at room temperature. In a series of powerful rapid-fire blows, the machine cuts a length of wire and upsets one end, forcing the metal to flow into a die that forms the screw's head. This is also where the recess for the screwdriver, be it a simple slot, a Phillips cross, or a Torx dar, is stamped into the head. The headless blank is then sent to a thread rolling machine. Instead of cutting the threads, which removes material and can weaken the screw, this machine rolls the blank between two hardened dies that have the thread pattern engraved on them. The immense pressure displaces the metal, forcing it to form the threads. This process, known as cold forming, actually strengthens the metal, making the threads incredibly durable. Finally, the screws are often heat-treated to increase their overall hardness and may be coated with zinc, chrome, or other materials to resist corrosion. The story of nails and screws is not just one of manufacturing, it's also a story of application. As they became cheaper and more accessible, they unlocked new possibilities in every field. In construction, they enabled the shift from heavy timber framing with complex mortise and tenon joints to the lightweight, fast, and efficient stick frame construction that is used to build most homes today. In furniture making, screws allowed for stronger, more durable joints that could also be disassembled, paving the way for the flat-pack furniture industry. They are essential in electronics, holding together everything from your smartphone to your television. They are in our cars, our appliances, and the tools we use every day. The development of specialized screws, like drywall screws with their unique bugle head, self-tapping screws that can form their own threads in metal, and lag screws for heavy-duty construction, shows how this humble fastener continues to adapt to new challenges. From a hand-forged Roman nail to a modern, cold-formed, corrosion-resistant deck screw, the journey of these fasteners mirrors our own technological progress. They represent the power of a simple idea refined over millennia. They are a testament to our enduring quest to build things better, stronger, and more efficiently. The next time you hammer a nail or turn a screw, take a moment to appreciate the incredible history packed into that small piece of metal. You're holding in your hand a direct link to the blacksmiths of the ancient world, the inventors of the Industrial Revolution, and the high-speed factories of today. They are the silent partners in our world, the tiny titans that hold it all together. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through the history of nails and screws. If you found this as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into the stories behind the objects that shape our world. We love hearing from you, so drop a comment below and let us know what everyday object you'd like us to explore next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.